Head to Patriots practice. This is video from today. Drake's shoulder is acting up. Earlier in the week, he told WEEI, he's like, I've been throwing the ball for 30 weeks now. We're so good.
I didn't love hearing that. Did you? I mean,
no, I got a little bit.
Every quarterback that's been in the Super Bowl has done that.
Well, yeah.
I don't like hearing
They're not throwing it with pinpoint accuracy like this guy and beautiful balls down the field. He didn't say that we're so good. I said that. But in any event, he met with the media today and talked about how he's feeling. I'm officially not worried. Nah.
Perfect.
I mean, I don't know. Danny, should I be worried?
I do not think you should be worried about Drake Maye playing in the Super Bowl, right? Like, he's going to play.
Of course. I'm not worried about that.
I looked up who the backup was. I was like, oh,
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, Tommy DeVito. You know what I mean? It's just like it crosses your mind.
DeVito got in. Probably will. Like at the end of the Eagles game.
So I looked it up. But you're getting a little angry there. No, if he has, we believe that this is real. Like, we believe something is going on?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So if we believe that something is going on, he doesn't play the brand of football that would have you at 0% concern. He takes a lot of hits.
Oh, yeah.
He gets sacked a lot. So, like, just if you think something is real, like if it's something or nothing, if we say something, he's on pace to be the most sacked quarterback in the history of the playoffs. Like, we can show in terms of, like, most sacks taken en route to a Super Bowl, he has the most, been counting it since '82. Burrow, you remember, ended up with the most sacks ever because he took 7 in that Super Bowl.
19.
So 19's the record. He would have to get sacked 5 times for the most. But so if the shoulder injury is real and we know he's going to take a lot of hits in this game just because that is his style, then you should be a little worried.
Throw that graphic back up if you would. Sorry, I should have said please. Okay,
we forgot.
That is I understand part of this is they didn't have a bye, so they played 3 games. But what's stunning about this to me is the 4th most sacks ever taken en route to the Super Bowl is half as many as Drake has taken. There's only 3 guys that have gotten to the Super Bowl taking more than 8 sacks. So, and he sacked 55 times in the regular season, a big number, and he runs the ball. Mm-hmm. You know, and so those are different hits, and he runs the ball. He's not Josh Allen, but he's closer to a Josh Allen running style than young Lamar running style.
Oh, yeah.
In that he will
take a little bit.
He'll take a hit, and
the Hufanga hit is what exacerbated this.
And so here would be the reason I would be worried. And I think you'll agree with me on this. I don't know who you're picking in the game. I don't think the Pats can win a game against Seattle where Drake Maye doesn't play really well. And so that's my concern. Now, I think he can play really well even with a banged up shoulder. Right? It's the Super Bowl. He's young. He's awesome. But I don't feel Drake Maye. I think he's played 20 games this year. Right? Didn't miss any games during the regular season. I think if we stacked up his 5 worst, 3 of them were in the playoffs so far.
Oh, yeah.
And so I do not believe they have a path to victory Sunday with him playing the way he's played up to this point. And so barring a Darnold complete meltdown, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you have the game he had 5 days ago and then a total C.J. Stroud game.
Well, it's different playing like the 20-something best defense and the second best defense.
No, I understand, but we've seen him play. Like, I don't think Darnold's going to have a horrifying game.
No, I'm not putting up, but if I just rephrase that of like, it's like everything is Drake versus the number 1 defense. Like, well, it's Sam Darnold versus the number 2 scoring defense now. So I think there's a scenario where Sam Darnold is not effective in moving the ball where he's not playing a bad game.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is I think for you guys to put up 24 points,
sure,
Drake's going to have to be very good. And certainly for you guys to put up more than that, I think he's going to have to be excellent. Mm-hmm. Not saying he can't be, but that's why I would be concerned.
Yeah, look, he's definitely playing. I think he'll be fine. It may be bothering him some, but I'm not really concerned with that. I'm more where Nick is. He's going to have to play well because I don't think you guys are going to shut out the Seattle defense like you have these other teams. Because the Chargers, particularly with their injuries, but period, the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos with Jarrett Stidham were mediocre offenses, okay, or even below mediocre, all right? This is one of the best offenses in the league, and it has been absolutely lights out in the playoffs. You know, averaging 36 points, scored 72 in 2 games. So I think you guys, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily be this shootout, but y'all going to have to put up some points, so Drake's going to have to be very good. And if the shoulder hinders that, we've seen Baker, the difference between him healthy and him with a shoulder injury. So hopefully that's not the case with Drake, but he's going to have to be good for them to win, I think.
Do you anticipate yourself being more or less worried by game time? Like, is your confidence in this going to improve?
I was going to
get worried.
I was going to do this off the air, but I'll do it on the air.
Great.
Transparency. What I believe and what is best for the show might be 2 different things. Because I went into the Denver game and said, I do not think this is going to be close.
Right.
I think Drake Maye is going to light up the Denver defense. It didn't happen. My feeling about the Super Bowl is I don't think this is going to be close. I think Drake Maye is going to light up the Seattle defense.
Wow.
I don't think that's great for the show.
What's great? What do you
It
mean?
would be great
Can I
for
tell
the show.
you?
But
that
your
is what is
instincts
going
are
to
wrong.
happen.
It would be.
Really?
It's
You really think that's going to happen? You think the Patriots going to rout the Seahawks?
By the
Why would it
time-
be bad for the show?
Yeah.
Yes. Just because it feels like a carbon copy of the take I had for the AFC Championship.
No, but you being loud wrong is just great, and we didn't really get to revel in your loud wrongness because the Patriots won.
Yeah, I didn't want to revel in my loud wrongness for the entire year.
But what you just said it. Your hypothesis on the AFC Championship game was wrong.
Yes.
But they won anyway,
as long
so
as they win.
so there were no. It didn't matter.
knock you.
But you're asking, is he going to be more or less worried? By the time we get to Friday, Wildes is going to say in his parlance, give me one chip on the take roulette wheel of 31-3 Patriots. What?
I was kicking around ideas because, as you know, this is a lot of like behind the scenes stuff and first things first overtime. Next week, there's just one big game, and we've got 15 hours worth of show to fill. It gets a little bit tough. And I was going to kick around passing yards record on the board.
I told you. It's just like Brady's against.
Yeah, it's like 500.
It's 500. Yeah.
Philly, right?
No, he's gonna Brew.
No, I know, because who could ever throw for like 450 yards? Oh, the second MVP against the MVP candidate against the same defense. Like,
He threw for 300 yards once this season.
Again.
Well, a lot of times you don't have to when you're up.
I just think it's a little disrespectful to Seattle, no?
A little.
It's like if Drake Maye's
You are
shoulder
giving
was
him
100%
fodder.
fine.
You're going to be in their pregame tape.
I would love it.
Okay, say something else.
They're 4.5-point favorites. They're in the driver's
You're going to
seat.
be in their tape for sure.
I would love to be. I would
you're auditioning for it.
I would relish that. Okay. Tom Brady was on Seattle Sports 710 with Brock and Salk and said this about the Super Bowl matchup. Danny, do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree that Seattle is the best team in the NFC, and I think that the Patriots are the team that won the AFC and have an argument to be the best team in the AFC, but really no argument to be the second best team in football. It won't matter. Like if they win, you win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. Like wild card teams have won the Super Bowl.
They're the best that year.
They're the champions that year.
Well,
right?
I mean, you wouldn't even give them, if they won the Super Bowl, you wouldn't just say they were the best team this year? You say
I'm annoying that way.
He would say they had the best season.
Yeah, they had the best season and they were the champions.
Yeah, I told you this was going to enrage you. This is why we're doing this.
The only reason I feel that, I feel like the 18-1 Patriots are the best team ever, and they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Correct. We all know that.
There's a little bit of that I
That's an outlier, though. Because, I mean, that's a team that was the first ever team to be 18-0.
They set record. I mean, Brady threw 50 touchdowns like that.
That to me doesn't apply to this.
Just trying to,
but go ahead.
meet him in the middle.
Seattle's
Thank you.
not.
I appreciate it. It was a kind of an olive branch. No, listen, I think that these teams are both very good. I've thought that Seattle was better all year, so you could call it confirmation bias. But part of it is the numbers, and part of it is watching the games, and part of it is who you do it against and the circumstances. And if we do the tail of the tape between the two teams, they're pretty similar between Seattle and New England. And this is including the playoff run, just because if I do it in the regular season, the points per game number for New England is a little better. But I actually wanted to include the playoffs because you're playing good defenses. You're playing better teams, right? You only played 4 playoff teams in the regular season, 4 games against playoff teams in the regular season. Seattle played 8. But if you look at it, I think we would all agree the team on the left is better than the team on the right. And then when you also then adjust for the path at which they got there, both through the regular season and how much of a heavyweight fight that felt like between Seattle and the Rams, the blowout against San Francisco, CJ Stroud having one of the worst games of the year on the Broncos side of it, and getting by Denver with the backup quarterback.
The CJ Stroud stuff is the CJ Stroud stuff. I think is the most dismissive because the Texans went into that game on a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And people had the Texans cooking the Patriots. And then once the Patriots defense proved problematic for CJ Stroud, all of a sudden CJ Stroud was not good anymore.
Well, listen, I don't know about all those people. Plenty of things that I did on this show being like, if CJ Stroud could be the top half quarterback, I said he was the Jordan Love of the AFC. Yeah. If he could be average, their team was ready to win a Super Bowl, and he wasn't average. Like CJ Stroud was pretty bad this year, and then he was awful in the playoff.
He wasn't
game.
good.
And he was bad in his first playoff game, too.
The Steelers stuff, him looking bad, actually somehow hurt the Patriots.
No, that definitively, that's what I was going to say, because I understand your frustration. Like, hey, we were out there helping cause those turnovers.
Right. Yes, you were.
The problem was we saw CJ in the game against the Steelers look like he was ready to have a 4-turnover half that game too.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I think that colors it a bit, even if it's unfair.
That makes sense.
I mean, and CJ Stroud had like one good game the second half of the season.
Right.
Like he was not very good this year. And so I think the Seahawks' path here has been a tougher path, and they've been more impressive in it. I mean, I just think isn't that objectively true?
Yeah, but I agree with that. But but you don't think the Patriots are the second best team in football?
I think the Rams are.
Right. So so you were looking at it like that. Okay. I didn't know who you were.
I thought the Rams.
I got some nuance too. I think Seattle's definitely the best team in the NFC. I'm divided by conferences.
All right, that's how I feel too, bro.
Yes. Yeah. I do think, and I know they got blasted in the playoff game, I think a healthy Niners team might have given them a run for their money. You know, they beat them in the first game of the season. It was close. So maybe that, but I thought they were better than the Rams because of the first 2 games that they split, but the turnover difference and they still were close. So I think Seattle's definitely best in NFC. AFC, you guys were certainly the most balanced team. Buffalo, great offense. Defense was okay, and obviously in the playoffs, not that good. Houston and Denver, great defenses, mediocre offenses at best. So I would have picked Buffalo over you guys. But beyond that, my main thing is I think, even if you want to say you guys are more balanced between offense and defense than the Texans and Denver, I think the Texans should have beat you had CJ just been average.
I told you
I said, had CJ just been average.
Well, why wasn't he average?
He should. I give you some credit, but a lot of it was him too. It was like it wasn't all y'all. It was some him. So if CJ had played better,
honestly, I don't even know what that means.
I think they outplayed. Like their defense had y'all locked up. I know Drake made the great throw, but I think they should have beat y'all.
Bro,
and I think Denver with Bo Nix beat you.
Bro, Drake Maye is the only quarterback all year who threw 3 touchdowns against the Texans. We scored 21 points. I don't know how, and we were running the ball in the end of the game at will on them to salt away a victory.
Think if
they did not have us locked up.
For the most part, they
forced fumbles, and there were the issues.
Right.
I thought the Bo Nix thing is where I thought you were going to go.
I think they beat y'all with Bo Nix. They almost beat you with Jarrett Stidham.
I think the Patriots defense is playing by far their best football right now, which makes them feel like a more complete team. And I don't expect Patriots fans to like this. You feel a year ahead of schedule, but you just got into the Super Bowl, which is amazing. And maybe you'll win it. Like that does happen. But I think the best Patriots team is still coming next year and the year after that.
Maybe. That's interesting.
I have a surprise for you, KW.
Go for it.
So I did it like Brew did it. Different than Danny. And because I agree with you. That's why I was like, who do you think second best team is? I agree that if there were no conferences, you and I both said before, we thought an NFC Championship game was the Super Bowl played like that. I do think those were the two best teams this year, but that's not how I looked at it as.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. The Rams had I believe 26th or 28th best defense since Thanksgiving.
KW?
I don't understand how that can be just disregarded when it's half the game.
And it's a hypothetical, so I guess we won't know. I think that my lean is a week out that the Rams will have given the Seahawks their toughest test this postseason by a lot, and that'll be if the Seahawks play the Patriots on a neutral site and beat them by 10, and they beat the Rams by 4 in Seattle, that would maybe be a check mark in the argument of Seahawks, Rams were the two best teams. But we won't know, and we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going to just say something.
Sure.
I'm not trying to have that argument. NFC, clearly the best team was Seattle. So check that box. I think the fact that New England has gotten subpar quarterback play from the best player on their team, that their defense thought that it might be a bit of a paper tiger coming into the playoffs and instead has been utterly dominant. That I think Mike Vrabel did a better job in the AFC Championship game than Sean Payton. Mm-hmm. That they have avoided like these massive cataclysmic errors. That when you roll all that up into a year where the AFC teams that we historically believe in, the Chiefs, year from hell, they're not in the discussion. Ravens, year from hell, they're not in the discussion. Broncos, I thought all of the same butting we could do about the Patriots schedule. We could do the Broncos about the Patriots defense. We could do the Broncos offense going into the year. And then they played in Denver. I get that it was they had a backup quarterback, nothing to do about it. And Patriots played Buffalo twice, and, it was even money. Yeah. I do think they were the best team in the AFC this year. I didn't see it coming. I didn't pick them to cover any of their playoff games. I thought they were going to lose to Denver. But I do think we got the right Super Bowl this year. I don't always think we get the right Super Bowl. Like, I don't always. I think it's not rare, but it is more often than not the best two teams, the best team from each conference, doesn't usually make it to the Super Bowl, particularly since they've eliminated the double byes and there's been a little more variance involved.
I like that.
But I do think we got the right two teams in this game. I do think that.
Coming up in 2 Mondays, did the Patriots really win the Super Bowl? Should they give Mike McDonald the trophy? Since when you think about it, really, when you look at the yardage numbers and take out a field goal.
Thanks for hanging out with Frenemies. We go to the NBA. There are reports out of the Bucks camp that Giannis is looking to get out of Milwaukee. And of course, there are some big-time suitors, the Heat, the Timberwolves, the Knicks, the Warriors, among many teams that will have interest in the two-time MVP. The trade deadline in the NBA, 1 week from today, 3 o'clock Eastern. Giannis hasn't played since the Bucks lost to the Nuggets on January 23rd with his calf injury. So, Nick, among those teams or others, where do you want to see Giannis go?
All right, let's start with these teams, and then we can kind of open the aperture a bit.
All right.
I think that, because I don't think any of these teams are the best place for Giannis, and I don't think any of these teams can make the best offer for Giannis. But I also think the Heat would be a disaster for Giannis. And I don't love it for Milwaukee unless you adore Bam. But I
don't even know that Bam.
Well, if Bam wouldn't be in the trade, then it makes no sense for Milwaukee at all. But
Kel'el Ware is a piece that they like a lot. In theory, heroes from Milwaukee, they can trade like 4 firsts.
But it's then Milwaukee. Giannis is just in Milwaukee South. Like the Heat are not after trading for Giannis are not demonstrably closer to a title than Milwaukee. So that to me I would cross off. The Knicks and the Timberwolves have no picks to trade, none. Just a few swaps they can do.
Yep.
So that one doesn't make sense. So of these teams, Danny, The Warriors, I get it. And it would probably be Butler and Kuminga for Giannis, maybe Kuzma because for salary reasons, and then all the picks. Just send all the picks. And I support that for the Warriors because if you have one of the 15 greatest players in the history of the sport and he's still really good, you should be all in every year.
Yep.
So you keep going for it with Steph, 2030 be damned. But I don't love it because I don't think Steph, Giannis, Draymond is a title team. I think it'd be fun. I think they'd be better than they are now, but I don't think it's a title team. And so I don't love any of these. I don't know where you land on it before we get to other teams.
So, listen, the basketball romantic in me hopes that Milwaukee and Giannis figure it out. I have one possible thing in the back of my mind where it could happen. It probably won't. Of those teams, I think it is very exciting to dream about Giannis and Steph playing together and Giannis and Ant playing together. The Warriors have more that they can offer. The Timberwolves would have to do, like, the draft picks would have to be players. They would have to trade, like, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, right? So, like, Milwaukee would not be getting the draft capital back. So I assume they're not going to want to do that. So I don't love any of these teams either, though the basketball fit that is the most interesting is Steph and Giannis playing together. But I will say this just to pivot it for a second, and I know you have trades for teams outside of this. Milwaukee shouldn't do this now. They should wait. And it will be bad for discussion, and it might get a little awkward, and Giannis might have to really be the bad guy, which he doesn't seem to want to be, and publicly demand a trade if this is going to happen in the next week. But this is said to be one of the great NBA drafts in terms of depth in history, right? You got the kid from BYU, DeBansta, you got Darren Peterson at Kansas, you got Boozer's kid at Duke. It's an unbelievable draft. You should wait. You should figure out where you are drafting because you have the worst of two picks between New Orleans and Milwaukee's. So if I'm running Milwaukee, I'm holding Giannis out. They've got.
So you're not trading him and you're not playing him?
Correct. Listen, I know. You've won 3 games without him. You could be the worst team in the NBA without Giannis the rest of the way.
Sure.
New Orleans is arguably the worst team in the NBA.
Yes.
So those 2 picks could be. You could have the worst of the 2 picks, could still be a top 5 pick in a loaded draft. And then you can say to Giannis, all right, we can trade that pick, which is very valuable, to get another star to come here if you want to stay in Milwaukee, or we can trade you to load up on assets after the lottery when we know where we can build around this. Because I think all of these names that people are throwing out, and you can do your trades if you want, it's not enough. Like, it's like the players that I've seen mentioned for Giannis, like if VJ Edgecombe becomes available from Philly, that's interesting. Like a young all-star caliber player. If Jalen Williams is available from the Thunder, that's interesting. But most of these guys, you're talking about 60 cents on the dollar for Giannis.
Well, but if you wait until this summer, then this is where I really disagree with you. You wait until the summer, he really does get to pick where he goes. Because if you trade him now, the team trading for him gets this playoff run with him and the next one. You wait for this summer, he's an expiring contract. And
he's got 1 year left plus a player option.
Right, which he would obviously decline. And so that to me is a very risky game. The reason I like, if we throw up the Atlanta trade, just real quick, the reason I like this trade is Giannis gets to stay out east. I think that team could be a sneaky contender in the East, and Milwaukee gets their picks back. So that would help. To your point, they would in this year's draft have their own pick and the New Orleans pick because they already have the worst of those two, and Atlanta has the better of those two. And next year they would have their own pick back because Atlanta has that already.
I just think that's flatly not enough. I don't think it's particularly close to being enough for what Giannis is still at this point, a top 4 player in the NBA.
So why do you not want them to trade him?
Well, listen, part of it is the basketball romantic in me of being Dirk, being Duncan, being Kobe, and playing for one franchise the entire time. And if you're going to have a top 5 pick We'll see what Hollins becomes over the course of this year, Giannis, and what a new coach and what else you can do. There is something to him being there his whole time. And call his bluff. Make him be the bad guy. He doesn't seem to want to be.
No, but you keep saying the basketball romantic in you. Doesn't the basketball fan in you want to see Giannis play in big games?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, a healthy Giannis, things have not worked out with injuries for them at the wrong time in playoff series.
Yes.
And they now don't have a lot of assets, and so they are in trouble. But they are. But if he's not going to demand a trade, okay.
The best thing for the Milwaukee Bucks is to trade Giannis. That's where I just, like, their contention window is over. And where Duncan was a Spur forever, but
and
Duncan,
he won a bunch, I understand.
Right, and they won a bunch, and they were awesome late in his career.
Yeah.
Kobe was a Laker forever. He got tenuous a number of times, but they won 5 titles before it went sour. And Dirk, they won his title late. Like Giannis has so much prime left, and they went all in 3 times to build a contender. They
Lillard,
won one
Holiday.
Championship, and then Miles Turner.
Yeah.
As a final,
Stretch, yeah.
And so but when you're saying that's not enough, that New Orleans pick, it is right now about as valuable of an asset in and of itself as Giannis is to the league. Like I don't think like you
got to know where it lands.
I don't think they are going to get it seems like what you're describing is the type of haul. Who's the last player to go for what Anthony Davis went for?
Yeah.
I don't think those trades exist anymore.
I think he's a unique talent, and because of how long I do think he has left in his prime, you need to be asking for young, all-star caliber talent and every draft pick and every pick swap. There should be 4 pick swaps added into that.
But what are I guess I don't know the team that threads the needle of Giannis would be interested in going there. They have that player. They would be contenders without that player, and they have their draft picks.
Well,
I just don't. But the Thunder, the Thunder would have to really have a bad playoff run, and then it could be available, and it obviously would have to be this offseason.
Let's get to the NFL. The Eagles are still looking to fill their offensive coordinator role. Kevin Patullo was fired now 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. Reports from Adam Schefter say that if they can't find an OC, Nick Sirianni will take over the play calling. Nick, what do you make of the fact that this job is still open?
I mean, it's an indictment. Eagles fans, you're never going to like me. It's fine. Leave me alone when I'm playing poker in Philly and with no hard feelings.
It's becoming a two-way thing with you and him, too.
It's an indictment on your head coach or your quarterback. Maybe both, certainly at least one of them. My read on it is this has a lot less to do with Jalen Hurts and a lot more to do with the lack of job security for Nick Sirianni. I think that the best offensive coordinator candidates think that head coach might be fired in 12 months, and then I'm fired in 12 months, so I don't want the job. I think that because a team with this much talent, with much, is one of the most prestigious franchises in the league. The team spent a ton of money, great ownership, great GM, and you get to call plays. Like, it's not one offensive coordinator job like the Broncos one's about to be, where it's like you're the offensive coordinator, but what is that? Not that it doesn't matter, but you don't get to do the coolest part, calling the plays. It has all of that. And the fact that they can't land a guy means either people have questions about Hurts, or more likely, I think, they have questions about Nick Sirianni. Is Nick Sirianni almost a lame duck coach?
So, being a successful coordinator for Nick Sirianni has been pretty good. For how little he's been in the league as a head coach, Brew talked about all of his success earlier. He's also launched 3 head coaching jobs, right? Kellen Moore, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. So the flip side of that is go to Philly, there's a ton of talent, you're empowered, you could be a head coach and start making 8 figures a year to coach. So they'll fill it if they want to. If I'm Philly, what would scare me about this is Nick Sirianni is on the record, and sure, he could have improved at this in the last couple of years, but the idea that Nick Sirianni will just take over calling plays, That's not a good idea.
No.
But he himself, we use his own words, when he gave up the play calling duties, he talked about, what I noticed was I wasn't communicating enough with my coaches.
Well, hold on. This is perfect timing.
No.
The Eagles have hired an offensive coordinator.
Oh, okay. I was going to, it is a play caller?
It is Packers quarterbacks coach Sean Mannion.
Yeah, Zach Berman was writing about him as a guy that they were focusing in on. Okay.
Okay, so listen, Sirianni is not going to call plays, I would imagine, which is good. It also, to me, I don't know. I'm not going to act like I've done a ton of Sean Mannion research, but we know the guys who were interviewing for head coaching jobs as OCs or promotions there, the Davis Webb types that's like, I might get a head coaching gig or a bigger offensive coordinator job from being the quarterback's coach. I listed yesterday 12 people the Eagles had talked to be offensive coordinator. Sean Mannion was not one of them. Now, one way to look at it is we are thorough. You know what I mean? Another way to look at it is Brian Dable said, I'd rather go to Tennessee with Robert Saleh and Cam Ward, which did happen.
And we know that Mike McDaniel
would rather go to
L.A.
Your guy.
Right, to L.A. He took himself out of the Tampa job and the Philly job. For Mannion, he gets to call plays, right?
Yes.
He was under Matt LaFleur, good offense to be under, and go there. And yeah, Nick Sirianni, he has had a lot of success being the CEO type coach, right? I do not think you want him bogged down in calling plays. So hey, they filled the job.
So they filled the job. All it took was they were like, listen, if they're doing frenemies on this, we've got to announce it. Like
we're not that toxic.
Right, we have to announce it. The news broke 90 seconds ago. So there you go. While we were doing
all right, well, great.
Perfect.
We always have breaking news on the OT.
Yeah, there you go.
Parsons
that 5 o'clock Eastern hour is key for big breaking news. That's 100% true.
They trust us to handle it here.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.